with the objective of subverting the will of the American people.
Go watch Mr. Global's post. So Trump wants to go after Obama because he questioned the election interference from Russia. Yet just last week, I believe there were members of the government trying to access voting machines. And at the same time, there's counties in New York that are recounting ballots from the 2024 election. Because in one of the counties, an independent woman didn't even show up on the list. And Kamala Harris received 0 votes. And people in the actual community signed pieces of paper stating who they voted for. And they voted for one of these 2 people. So where did their votes go? Oh, not to mention the whole JE situation with the children and the, victims and the, money laundering and the, blue and white country with the flag and, all of that. But look over here. Every accusation is an admission. They're accusing Obama of election interference because they've been doing it all along. It's a classic sleight of hand trick. Don't look over here, look over there. Now he wakes up and wants the Washington Commanders to change their football team name back. Look over here. Or he wakes up and tells Rosie O'Donnell that she's a threat to national security. Look over here. The Wall Street Journal posts a nasty article about him. Now I'm going to sue him in Fox News. Look over here. And at the same time, he's trying to overwhelm the news networks so that people won't pay attention to the real things going on in this world. Like the fact that 60% of the American population is a $400 emergency away from being financially ruined. Not to mention ever getting a medical emergency of any kind. And if we're talking about his distractions, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about him burning books in schools. We're not talking about how the Supreme Court has pretty much given him full reign to do whatever he wants. We're not talking about the people that he has caged in detention facilities with no charges. We're not talking about the war in Gaza where people are being exterminated. But even more so, we're not talking about the resistance. There are cases of people standing up against ICE, pushing them back. The millions of people who protested. The millions of other people who are still protesting. The fact that other countries have people protesting. The fact that this resistance to fascism is global. That's what we should be focusing on. Not a bunch of late night rants on Truth Social. But they don't want you talking about the resistance because they want to pretend it's not there. They don't want the rest of you to see people rising up and taking action. They want you to be complacent and just sit in your home and say, oh, well, guess there's nothing we can do. They want you to think you're alone. They want you to think, maybe it's not that bad. So that you'll go on with your day-to-day life and stop paying attention. They're trying to flood the zone. It's literally a tactic out of the fascist playbook. Did anybody else notice that on the day that the list was considered non-existent happened to be the same day that the prime minister of a certain blue and white flag country happened to be in the White House? Remember how Elon Musk was calling out DT all over the internet and all of a sudden he stopped? And then SpaceX got a huge contract with the US government. So now he's not saying anything anymore. I implore my American friends, don't lose sight of the hope. Ignore these distractions and focus on what needs to be done. You have the ability to shut this down. At this point, the way things are going, you're going to lose everything. Your economy is tanking, your jobs are crashing. Your unemployment rate is skyrocketing. The food stamps are gone. The health care, the Medicaid, it's all going to be gone. This isn't speculation anymore. This is fact. So rather than go through all that suffering, everybody just sit down for 2 weeks. No violence, no uprising. Just stop playing the game. Max out all your credit cards, take all the cash. Enough for basic necessities, food and gas. And then just stop paying everything. Take 2 weeks off. Build a garden. Spend time with the kids. It's summer. Go to the beach. Take a walk. Read a book. You can do so many wonderful things without spending money. What would happen to the banks if everyone all of a sudden took out all the money off their credit cards? Even if you don't spend it, just put it somewhere else. Max out all your credit cards and then don't pay them. So now every single bank is suddenly in an extreme amount of debt and has no income coming in to pay for it. You could fold them over in a month or two. What's your credit rating matter if you're going to lose everything anyway? You think it's going to matter if you have to go bankrupt at this point? Because going bankrupt is nothing compared to starving to death. Take 2 weeks. Spend time with your loved ones. Enjoy as much time as you can because things are about to get really hard. You guys can do this. Everybody's rooting you on. Because if you guys can turn this around and expel fascism from your country, then maybe the American dream can be restored. And maybe your new dream is to be the example for the rest of the countries out there who are fighting the exact same thing. Be the vision, be the inspiration, and not only push back the other way, but start enforcing things like learning about fascism in school and getting younger people to vote while they're involved in their education process, and demand accountability for things. Push for socialist agendas, daycare and healthcare, and subsidies for farmers, and help for people that are seniors and people with disabilities. Full education, full tuition. And each of them would still have $10 million. All you'd have to do is tax them at like 10%, and you could pay for everything. And they wouldn't lose one glass of champagne or one yacht. Stand up, America. The rest of us are waiting on you. If you think Americans are always the heroes, then prove it.